Okay, so have you ever stumbled across one of those stories that just makes you kind of stop and go, huh, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Like you see the headline and you're not even sure if it's real?
Exactly. It's one of those what the heck moments. And today's episode is a prime example of that. So buckle up because we're about to dive into a legal battle that's so strange, so out there that it might just make your head spin.
Think of it as a deep dive into a world where childhood nostalgia collides head-on with, well, giant concrete blocks. It's David and Goliath, but David's packing some serious tonnage.
Right. And the best part is the source material for this wild ride. It's an article by Stefan Pinkwart titled, Would You Sue a Child for Playing with Stones? And you can find this gem over on Medium, but here's the catch. It's a member-only story. So yeah, you lucky listeners get a sneak peek into the absurd.
So what exactly are we trying to figure out today? Well, the million-dollar question, or maybe more like the million Lego brick question, is this. Why would Lego, a company that's synonymous with creativity and fun, decide to go after a company that makes, well, basically giant concrete Legos?
Yeah, it just seems so out of character. Like you think of Legos and you think of kids building castles and spaceships and whatever their imaginations cook up, not lawyers and lawsuits.
Right, but that's exactly what happened. And to understand why, we need to go back to the beginning of this whole concrete kerfuffle. And that starts with a Dutch engineer named Bos.
Now, Boss isn't your typical Lego enthusiast. He's not building elaborate models in his basement or anything. Instead, he's using his engineering know-how to, well, make the world a slightly more stackable place. And his tool of choice is the beton block.
Now, beton blocks are basically what they sound like. They're big, chunky concrete blocks. But here's the twist. They have studs, just like Legos.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what concrete blocks have been around forever? What's the big deal?
Well, the big deal is that Bass wasn't shy about drawing comparisons between his beton blocks and the OG Lego brick. And at some industry event, he casually dropped a line that his blocks were like Lego, just the adult version.
And that's when the alarm bells started ringing back at Lego HQ in Billund, Denmark. You can almost picture the executives scrambling like someone just spilled coffee on their limited edition Star Wars set.
And it wasn't because they were worried about kids choking on concrete studs or anything like that. It was about protecting the brand. The Lego brand is fiercely guarded, like Fort Knox levels of security.
Right. They've spent decades building this image of creativity and imagination and quality, and they're not about to let some concrete blocks roll in and mess that up.
It's like that old saying, you don't get to be a global icon by letting anyone use your name without permission. And Lego takes that very seriously.
To illustrate this point, the article makes this really interesting comparison. It talks about sexual fantasies about IKEA employees.
Yeah, it's a bit out there, I know. But the point is that even something seemingly harmless, like a casual comparison, can be seen as a legal no-no. It's about controlling the narrative, about making sure that the Lego brand is only associated with things that Lego approves of.
So back to our concrete crusader Bass. His little comparison didn't go unnoticed. And Lego wasn't about to let it slide. They unleashed the legal hounds, full force.
We're talking trademark infringement, brand dilution concerns about the safety of children's dreams. The whole 9 yards.
And get this, the article even names the law firm that Lego hired. It's called WeFEveryone.com, which, kind of sets the tone for how seriously they were taking this whole thing.
But amidst all this legal drama, there's this underlying question that the article keeps coming back to. Wait, who the hell has ever given their kid a 2.5-ton concrete block for Christmas?
It's such a funny image, right? Like you've got this multi-million-dollar toy empire going to war over something that's essentially a glorified construction material.
And that's where things start to get really interesting, because it becomes clear that this lawsuit wasn't really about stopping people from accidentally buying concrete blocks instead of Lego sets. It was about something much bigger.
It was about narrative control. It was about Lego trying to erase any mention of their precious bricks being compared to something as mundane as concrete blocks.
Enter the trial of perversion, as the article so aptly calls it. This is where things go from strange to downright surreal.
Picture this. The courtroom is packed. A motley crew of jurors. 2 influencers, an accountant, a guy who's constantly hearing ringing in his ears thanks to years of listening to loud music, and a sweet old lady who thinks she's stumbled into the wrong building.
And in the middle of it all stands Boz Lawyer, a man who looks like he hasn't cracked a smile since 2003. And who can blame him? He deals with concrete for a living. Not exactly the most glamorous profession.
And then there's Exhibit A, the concrete block with studs. This hulking gray monstrosity sitting there in the courtroom like a symbol of the whole absurd situation.
It's this clash of worlds, right?
Yeah.
The whimsical world of Lego versus the very real, very heavy world of concrete.
And now imagine your boss standing there in that courtroom about to make your case. You've got this incredible invention that you genuinely believe can make the world a better place. But then that little voice of self-doubt creeps in.
That voice that says, maybe I shouldn't say this, maybe I'm going too far, what if people think I'm crazy? We've all been there, right? That fear of speaking our minds, of rocking the boat.
And that's where the article introduces this really powerful concept, the would you hack. It's like a verbal judo move, a way to turn that self-doubt into a weapon.
Instead of censoring yourself, you flip the script. You start asking questions. Questions that are designed to challenge people's assumptions, to make them really think about what they believe.
And the article gives some pretty amazing examples like, would you sue a dream because it's too big for your Lego heart? Or would you leave me if I told you my love had studs?
These aren't your typical polite conversation starters. They're designed to provoke a reaction, to make people sit up and take notice.
And the idea is that by asking these would you questions, you're not just expressing yourself. You're building a case. You're turning the audience into a jury.
It's like a rhetorical bloodbath, but in a good way. It's about using language to cut through the noise to get to the heart of the matter.
And what's really cool is that this technique isn't just for fighting legal battles with toy giants. It can be applied to all sorts of situations. The article gives examples of using it to deal with the fallout of broken friendships, the weight of depression, even the struggle to love yourself.
Like imagine saying to an ex-friend, would you still text me if I told you you were like a Lego set, without instructions full of pieces but no idea? Ouch, right?
Or trying to explain the feeling of depression by asking, would you still hug me if I were made of concrete, heavy cold, but load-bearing? It's raw, it's vulnerable, it's powerful.
And the article even suggests using it for self-reflection, like asking yourself, would you still love yourself if you knew you were hollow inside like a studded brick that can't hold anything anymore? It's like a soul strip tease with a jackhammer.
So back to Lego and their concrete conundrum. The article argues that this whole legal battle is a symptom of something bigger. It's about the dangers of self-censorship, of being so afraid of offending someone or stepping out of line that we end up becoming brand products ourselves.
All smooth and polished and perfectly predictable, like those little Lego minifigures with their fixed smiles.
But the alternative is so much more exciting. It's about embracing our rough edges, about being more like those concrete blocks. Heavy, unyielding, unstackable.
It's about being real, even if it means being a little bit uncomfortable.
And if you're feeling inspired to unleash your inner concrete block, the article has a little something for you. It's called the Poetry Master Toolkit. And it's basically a guide to building your own would you arsenal.
It's like a concrete block with pages filled with tips on how to throw metaphors like Molotov cocktails, how to use language to build a case, and even a list of banned words, like authentic, because apparently that's too overused.
And for our German-speaking listeners, there's a link to the original version, but fear not. The article provides a handy English translation for those who prefer their pain in English.
And it all culminates with this final thought-provoking question. Would you click if you knew your next text would destroy the audience? It's a challenge to be bold, to be fearless, to use your words to make a real impact.
So there you have it. Our deep dive into the world of concrete studs and trademark law. It's a story about creativity and control, about the power of brands and the importance of finding your voice.
And it all started with a simple question. Would you sue a child for playing with stones?
It makes you think, doesn't it? What would you question are you holding back? What truth are you too afraid to speak?
And if you're looking for a little inspiration to get those creative juices flowing, the article recommends a book called Poetry Master Poesy Craft in 7 Tagen.
So go forth, be bold, be creative, and maybe, just maybe, build something amazing out of those concrete blocks in your mind.
Stay creative, Stefan.
All right, see ya.